You're listening to Squatch Talks podcast bonus material. I'm Eric Spinner, and this past weekend we took a ride up to Pennsylvania to Nathan and Terry's house to enjoy Crystal's graduation party. And after we sat around the bonfire and told some tales from our experiences out in the forest. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Thanks for squatching. So, Nathan, you enjoy that episode?
It was good.
No, I had to go get it.
Dr. Russell did a great job.
Yeah.
He's a good guest.
I know that.
So,
Really?
Terry and I were just talking about some stories, though, from previous encounters. And what we call that one, the Mothman?
Good, yes, definitely the Mothman.
You two are really up on that and want to get out there and check for Mothman. But you and I had a little encounter, right?
Yes,
And,
quite funny.
What was it? I forget. There was something we heard in the woods. I don't remember.
Yeah,
you have
we
to
were
refresh my
just
memory.
walking and something flashed and kind of shook the bush a little bit, and you
Out
got,
came a moth.
yeah, what?
Out came a moth.
Yeah, it turned out it was just a moth that landed, and Eric threw me
I
in
jumped
front.
up behind you and pushed you.
And pushed me in front, yes. It was so funny. I'm like, thanks, Eric.
I've got that move down.
I have like 8,000
Yeah, he doesn't have to be the fastest one out there.
Throw the big one.
No, that's just one of the funny things that I remember. But one of you were talking about how somebody said about how I go out at night by myself.
Yes.
And you're like, yeah, right. And and I say it all the time. I'll go out during the day, right? But at night, I prefer to have somebody with me.
Yeah.
So early on, though, I did go a couple of times to camp out by myself. And there was the one night when the whole campground was deserted. It was just me. And this is at the location where the state trooper had a sighting with an 8.5 foot tall, auburn colored creature and a 5.5, 6 foot all black juvenile, right? And this squirrel, I'll tell you, I saw it up in the tree and it leaped from one tree to the next, and then it's right above my campsite, okay, and I had the fire going, and this thing came down the tree at me, and its eyes were glowing, and it starts chattering so loud. I swear to God, it freaked me out. I jumped in my car. I literally jumped in the car. I called Rob in BC because I knew he'd be up, and I'm like having him talk me off the ledge. And as I'm talking to him, I think I even called Caroline. I think I remember calling Caroline too, because she's out in that part of the country. And literally, I'm talking and I see red glowing eyes from the tree line behind my campsite.
Yeah.
Oh, I was free. Nobody. It was like March,
Mm-hmm.
And then there was the time over in Brendan Burn. Well, we're going to be in a couple of weeks, Heather and I. And I was the only one in the loop. The loop by the group sites.
Mm-hmm.
I had eaten my dinner. Fire was going, and a freaking mockingbird goes off in the tree above me and freaked me out. So, again, I'm from New York, so I wasn't really used to the woods, right? And so I call Scott, rodeo clown Scott. Scott is gone. I don't know him. He's in Missouri. I actually went out to Missouri and squatched with Scott at an area where he had. Oh my gosh! He called me one day. He says, if I don't make it out of here, tell my wife where I am. I said, Scotty, relax. I said, what's going on? He says, there's 3 of them, and they're surrounding me. There's one crouched down. He's about 10 feet tall, all black. And there's 2 juveniles, 7 to 7.5 feet tall, auburn colored. And they're on either side. I said, don't worry. Don't smile at him. I said,
Don't bare
show
your
your
teeth.
teeth.
don't bare your teeth. Don't smile. I said, just slowly back out. And I stayed on the phone with him as he was backing out. And just as he was getting close to the road, a car must have been coming down the road. And one of them went down on its belly, on all fours, on its belly. And that's when he turned and ran across the road and got in his Jeep and got out of there. But he took me back to that spot when I went out there. And we definitely found all kinds of tree signs. We found tall boy trails. a couple of track impressions. I found a nest. Oh my
Yeah.
God, this nest, it was huge. And it was not made by Boy Scouts or, it was, I was literally in shorts like this, okay, wading through poison ivy and bushes up to my waist, okay? And the weirdest thing was I didn't get any poison ivy, but when I got back to his double wide, I went to the bathroom, I had thousands of ticks in my crotch. I freaked out.
Oh my,
Thousands, like literally, like just falling off of me. I was
oh my God.
And the chiggers, okay? I got back to my hotel room and I still couldn't get enough showers to get those suckers off of me. Oh, I was freaking out. But yeah, we actually had, I could hear something also like paralleling us while we were out there too. But I mean, he was saying it was at least 10 feet tall. This thing was so huge.
Yeah. I know they're big, and
And the Ozarks,
Yeah, they are big out there.
Oh yeah, it's like Kentucky. Huh.
Things do grow in the dark, though.
But you were saying, hey, let's just
Definitely.
tell some stories around the campfire, right? And we don't always have activity. Like Dixie says, sometimes you get skunked, and sometimes you run into skunks. I remember on a solo hike during the day, I came across a skunk going back to one of my areas, right, to check a trail camera.
I was gonna say they had a porcupine. Wasn't it a porcupine?
Yeah.
We had a
Up at Ricketts
porcupine.
Glen,
Yeah, we
you're
were
like, what
terrified
is
that it was
that?
a skunk.
Yeah, they were.
We were like, we
thought
gotta
it-
go. I'm just not positive because we gotta get back. And I was like, no, it's a porcupine. We're good.
Yeah, that was funny. They're like, I think it's a skunk.
I was with my friend Tom once at the tracks, the railroad tracks, back in the Pine Barrens, where I had my growling encounter.
Yeah.
Okay. And he and I were sitting back there in the dark, and we heard something coming, like down the game trail. And at night everything sounds big. We're sitting there, and all of a sudden a possum comes walking. He's sitting across from me. Possum comes walking right between the two of us.
Just chilling.
Don't mind
Minding
me.
its own business.
Nothing to see here.
We had a thumping.
Something.
Wait, it was you, Ian. Was that with you? Do you remember? We're all sitting. I think that's when we were up at Scouting.
the grounds?
Yes.
Oh, the grouse.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
Yeah, we were sitting there. You didn't know what
Sounds
it
like
was.
chest
What?
beating.
Yeah, and it was like boom, 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 boom,
Yeah.
and it was like, what the hell was that? And
That's-
boom, 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 boom.
How loud was it?
It was.
It wasn't as loud as you could feel it.
Well, the reason I asked that because Heather and I were taking a hike in the Pine Barrens and we heard the same thing coming from the trail straight ahead of us. And we were at an intersection. So I said, okay, let's go this way. So we made a left, and that trail would have taken you back to the campgrounds if you were going there. And we get up to the next bend where it veers to the right or goes straight. And we hear it again, but it's at the corner right there. And it was so loud. She pulled an Eric and she did one of these jumps behind me. And says, I want to go back to the truck. I said, you want to take the trail or you want to take the road?
It sounded like
All right, back to the Squatch topic.
I have a way of getting people off track. Sorry.
We
track,
had,
getting us back on tracks.
Yes, there you go.
we had the baby crying in Maryland.
yeah.
It took them forever to figure out that was. We were
We
down in
knew
the
it wasn't
swampy.
Squatch. I knew it couldn't be
Was
Squatch.
it a deer?
No, it was beavers.
Beaver.
Beavers.
It
Yeah.
took them a while to.
It was crying just like a baby. I swear to God, it was an infant laying out in the swamp, and it was baby beavers.
You know what? We heard that at Batstow Lake one night, and I thought it was a bleeding deer,
Yeah,
a bleeding fawn.
yeah, I could see that.
And it wouldn't stop.
Yeah,
I wonder if it was beavers that we were near the lake.
yeah. It's amazing the way it sounds. Where we were, and I'm like, if that's a baby crying, we gotta find it because.
Yeah, we were scouting. We were scouting down in
for the
Maryland
Maryland
for our
trip.
expedition, and all of them that were with us, they're all on their phones at that night. They're trying to find. They're listening to. They're like, I got it. And they're like, what is it? They're like, we're looking it up,
Yep.
and it's like,
Wow.
so
Charles was with us. And
Yeah.
Gudrun. Yeah,
Yeah.
everybody was looking it up.
yeah, trying to figure out what was making this noise.
And that's good that we have people who have catalogs of all these animal sounds, like Managila, right? Say, no, this is what it is.
Yeah, so
But yeah, that takes me back to, what we thought were growls all those times. And it turned out it was the nighthawk, right? And that was very misleading. I would have never known that. And Dan Fian is the one who said, "Oh, you mean this?" He brings it up on Google. I'm like, "Yeah, that's it.
That's
It's
exactly
a bird.
what I recorded. That was a growl.
Yeah.
It's a bird." Shit. No wonder they move so quick. We couldn't figure out how this growl would move so quick. You know, like, first it's here,
treat it surreal.
then it's there, and then it's there. I'm like, wow, he's really booking. You know, and I can't see anything. You know?
Yeah, I think
Carpenter
the grounds-
carpenter frogs are mistaken as knocks all the time.
Yeah,
You know,
Sound like a jackhammering or
yeah,
something.
it's,
they do.
it's a
They're-
lot of misidentification.
they're obnoxious down there in the pine barrens.
Oh.
They
Oh,
ruin
yeah,
so
like-
much audio.
It's so weird.
And when you walk, they're deafening. I'm glad these guys just bark once in a while. I don't know what you call it. I call it barking. Just burp.
Yeah, they're quiet again.
But yeah, there's a lot of things that we can easily mistake.
Yeah.
What some people would think is a Sasquatch.
It happens in any field, really.
Even with your paranormal stuff, right?
There's people that mistake things that can be explained pretty easily, yeah.
We were talking about that paranormal caught on camera, right?
Yeah.
How many times are you watching that and you're going, come on, dude, that's all this is.
Yeah,
Spiderweb.
Yep.
exactly.
And it's always the CCTV episodes. You ever notice that?
Well, that one was off of Ring doorbell
That's what I'm
camera.
saying, but that's still
Yeah.
technically CCTV.
Yeah.
Closed caption, right?
Closed circuit. Right?
Closed circuit.
Yeah, we're like a low res.
And they're low res.
Yeah, really low res.
Well, this was just it picked up a spiderweb that was in front of the camera, and you could see it swaying back and forth, and like water droplets on it, and it was basically right in front of the camera.
Right.
And they were talking about it being orbs, and it's like I'm looking, I was like, what the hell are these guys talking about? This freaking
really
spiderweb
amazing.
hanging right there.
It's amazing how it just manifests.
It's like
It
it's
literally
like
started
it's
again.
conscious of the, yeah, it's like you're conscious
It's
of
an
the
entity.
See what they want to see. Your mind picks
Exactly.
up big,
Right, yeah.
big shapes
especially in
and stuff.
paranormal, like I'm watching things on video.
Yeah, meanwhile the spiders like, oh hey,
Here I
here I
am.
am all dropped.
That does happen when you first start going out looking for Bigfoot. You're like, okay, was that or was that not a knock? You don't know.
Well, that's why we always looked at Russ
Until
when we were
you-
with Russ.
Yeah.
We're like, Russ, what is that? Like, you know everything. We're like, oh, nope, it's nothing. Keep
Confirmation.
moving.
Russ, we have confirmation.
You don't even have to say anything with him. You just walk along. He was walking along on his phone, texting.
Mhm.
You know, it's like 1 o'clock in the morning. I don't know who the hell he's texting. We were walking along and he'll hear something, and he just blurts out what it was. You know, oh, that was a whatever, red-bellied whatever, and then all of a sudden something will happen. He'll stop and go, that was pretty interesting. And then we're all like, yeah, that was good. I mean, the guy, he's a master naturalist. He knows his shit. You know.
Yeah. Well, and it's funny because Todd and I were at the Jacobs creature look. He said, hey, why don't you try a knock? So I found a branch and I did 3 knocks on the tree. I held up my digital recorder, and a minute later we got a response, and it just came from up on the hillside. And I went, hey, I just heard a knock. And he was 100 yards down the hill. He says, copy that, I heard it too. That was confirmation, and I recorded it. Even better.
Yeah, that's the thing, though. You don't know what you're listening for until you hear it.
Right.
A lot of people go out and they just think that's what they're hearing. And they're not. A lot of times they're not. But when you first hear that first real knock, I remember we were in West Virginia, heard that first knock. Holy shit, you know what it is then.
Yeah, but you know what? You gotta go to BC.
Oh yeah, I can't imagine that.
It sounded like from up on the hillside, it sounded like an artillery shell went off.
They
I
say
just
you
went like
can
this. I
feel
went,
it.
oh my God, like that.
They say it's almost like you can
Feel
feel
it,
the repercussion, you know, the shock wave.
Unbelievable. And that wasn't the only one I heard when I was out there.
Yeah.
When we went to No Name Lake, we got there early before it got dark. We got all set up, opened all our gear up, all our snacks. Then a mist of mosquitoes came in, like so bad, it was unbelievable. And then they kind of cleared out. And then we heard the first tree get pushed over.
Yeah.
And then a knock. I'm taking notes. Then another tree gets pushed over. 2 more knocks. Unbelievable, you know. And like, it was supposedly there's an alpha male that resides there, and it's like 9.5 feet tall. So I was like, this is gonna be my in-my-face encounter. And then Neil from Seattle turns on his camera equipment. He goes, "Bloop," and not a peep after that. Just that little. Bloop.
Yep, recording equipment, gotta go.
And we tried everything after that. Call blasting. I went down the trail, and these trees are so huge, it was completely pitch black out. And Rob and Neil were back at the little base camp we set up. I went down the trail. We're doing back and forth provocations. I'm standing there in pitch black. I can't even see my hand. And I said, you know, am I crazy? Like, this is 9.5 foot tall Bigfoot out here. They could just put me up and put me under his arm and walk away, and nobody would even know what happened to me. Literally, you know?
Yeah. It'd be like Bugs Bunny and Big Red Monster.
Yeah.
Smacking him. Like, take him.
I want to hug you and squeeze you and hug you and squeeze you and call you George. I did that on the way up here today.
Okay.
I did that skit on the way up here today, yeah. But it was for something different. But I used that skit.
We did that up in Ricketts Glen. We were sitting, it was Dan and Ian, me and Tira, sitting in a square, and it was so dark you couldn't see anything. And then we heard the scampering. But it was, you could tell it was 4 feet. It was click, 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 and it was coming up, And I felt it brush past me. And Tira was over here, and I heard her say, "It's sniffing my knee." Right? We were so terrified to turn our lights. Nobody turned their lights on. It just walked away. It could have been a freaking coyote. It could have been any number of things.
Yeah, kitty. Yeah.
And it just... And we were all like, I can't even turn my light on.
I just like this. Like, okay, tell me what it's.
Please, I don't want to hear any blood curdling. It bit me, you know. I'm just like,
My leg.
yeah.
Just keep going.
Thanks for checking out this episode of Squatch Talks Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe, follow, and give us a like, and stay tuned for more exciting stories on Squatch Talks.